Hey friends, welcome to my channel. This is Jeff Marshall, guitar player, guitar teacher, and today we are going to jump into some rhythmic phrasing. Now this particular video is a continuation of a multi-part series I've been doing, so if you want to go check those out, maybe go back to my channel and sift through some of those videos there. It shouldn't be too hard to find. I covered kind of quarter notes and eighth notes, kind of mixing and matching some of these sounds. Also rests and playing legato and staccato and all these things, because I think, when you really think about it, rhythmic phrasing is probably the #1 thing on the instrument. Of course, we all love to shred and everything, but the rhythmic phrasing really allows you to speak on the guitar. And also, I think probably one of the most important things, if not the most important things on the instrument, is your timing, right? Your sense of time, how good your pocket is, and also how many different rhythmic variations you can internalize so you can translate that into your improvisation and such. All right, so today we are going to be talking about triplets. All right, so I'm just going to start off with quarter note and eighth note triplets and different variations of that. I've got about 10 or 12 different exercises I'm going to run through, some examples that I use with my students to kind of help them internalize these different rhythms. There will be, of course, an accompanying PDF. And if you'd like to get that PDF, maybe you might want to consider joining up on my Patreon. The link is in the bio here. Just click the link there, it'll take you right to my page. And you'll soon see that there's different tiers, different levels, depending on your playing ability and your interests. But if you just like to support the channel, there's also just a basic tier too, and that's always appreciated. And anything that I put on YouTube that has a PDF or a backing track or something like that will be found there. You can download it there if you sign up there. So check it out, and I certainly appreciate your support. But let's get on with the lesson. We're going to talk about triplets. All right, so we have lots of ways to skin a cat here with triplets, as we do with all kinds of different rhythmic phrasing. So I'm going to give you some basic stuff, some basic exercises, and also some visual aid here. So I'm not going to require you guys to sight read music or anything like that, because that's a whole nother ball of wax. But I think being able to at least sight read rhythms is a really good skill to have, even if you're more of a tab reader, because the tabs, hopefully above the tabs, you're going to see what the implied rhythm of the phrase that you're playing. So being able to work that out is really important. All right, let's just go ahead and jump over to the PDF and we'll see what we got going on. Okay, so here is the PDF, and I'm actually going to just explain what I have going on here, and then we'll get into some examples. So we have quarter note triplets. I just kind of started with quarter notes and just kept going in smaller and smaller subdivisions. But as we'll see here in a minute, we're going to actually probably start off with the eighth note triplets. But these are quarter note triplets. Basically, it's 3 equal parts of 2 beats. So beats 1 and 2 in a measure of 4/4, and beats 3 and 4 will be subdivided equally in 3. And I'll show you a method for doing that here in a moment. And then we have eighth note triplets, which is dividing each beat into 3 equal parts. Then we have 16th note triplets, which is dividing each beat into 6 parts. And then we have what is the common shuffle feel. Now, in this video, I'm not going to cover the 16th note triplets. I just wanted to put them on here as a visual reference, but this is a whole nother world right here. So I thought, well, this will probably be part 4 of this. So let's start with our eighth note triplets here. And you'll see above the figures here, I have a typical way that I like to count these. Now, different people count them differently. Some people call them as triplet, triplet, triplet. That's cool. I count them as a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, like that. And you'll see why here in a minute, because I'm going to use those different counting things to work out my quarter note triplets. But it's easier, I think, to start with your eighth note triplets and then see how you can use that knowledge to suss out your quarter note triplets, because they are a little bit harder to feel at first. Okay, so our eighth note triplets, dividing each beat into 3 equal parts. I'm just going to roll this, and I'm going to loop this with an A note here on the 7th fret, as you can see. Okay, so that's what it feels like. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Now, to start off with, if this feels new to you, what you might want to do is physically on the guitar, you might want to start with a downstroke. Go down, up, down, down, up, down. So you'd have 2 downstrokes in a row. And that kind of helps you feel where the pulse is. But I think ultimately you want to be able to do it with alternate picking. That way, if you're in a certain phrase or something like that, you're not kind of stuck with that particular technique. You want to be able to feel the pulses on any upstrokes also. Okay, so what you want to do is, once you can internalize that feel, maybe you want to apply it to a scale or a mode. So today I'm going to just kind of use a Dorian, which is really a G major. And I'll also probably do some just simple pentatonics too, in case you're not familiar with that. Okay, pretty much most people know that minor pentatonic scale. So a really good thing to just start off with, if this is, especially if this is kind of new for you, is to just kind of play up and down your scale pattern using this triplet feel, so you can start to internalize it in your body. Let's try it. Okay, and you can also do it with the pentatonic scale. I'm just kind of looping it there. That way, you know, like if it comes across any section where it feels odd, I can kind of work that out, because you will find some odd spots when you're looping it, and it helps you to kind of flesh any of those odd sections out in a scale or a pattern. Okay, let's talk about our quarter note triplets. Now, quarter note triplets, if we look at our eighth note triplets, we got one and right? So basically what we're going to do is just not play this and here. So we're going to go one and we're going to play the okay? And then we're going to skip the two and play the and. It's a one and two and, one and two and, right? Okay, and again, what you want to do is, once you loop that a few times and internalize it into your body, is pick a scale pattern. In this case, like I said, I'm going to do a Dorian, and then maybe I'll do it with the pentatonic scale too, and just kind of loop it and play up and down and really focus on locking in that particular rhythmic subdivision. And we can do it with a pentatonic scale. 2, 3, 4. Okay, something like that. And you notice I'm looping it, because what's going to happen when you loop it is it's going to start to place accents on different upstrokes, downstrokes, and also, you know, where you're fingering at. So it kind of makes it, it forces you to not to get stuck in a certain pattern with it, which I think is important. You want to be able to just internalize these. Okay, the next one is 16th note triplets. Like I said, I'm not going to get into these in this particular thing, because that's like a whole another world on its own. But we're dividing up. We've got two small triplets, which times 2 equals 6, so 6 notes in each beat. Slowly, that would feel something like this. All right, let me do it with the metronome. know, with any of these, what you want to really focus on is making sure it's kind of easy to lock into the downbeats, but you want to make sure that you got nice spacing, equal spacing between the notes. That's going to be really important when it comes to feel. Okay, the last example I have here are a triplet type shuffle feel, and this is, you know, this is what you hear with blues and stuff like that, swing. And basically what you're doing is you're not playing the middle note of a triplet. So you could count of like a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. So if you've ever played kind of like your typical blues shuffle type feel, that's what we're playing here. So I'll play it with just one note first, and then we'll run it through a scale. Okay, now I'm going to run it down a scale. All right, let's do it with a pentatonic scale. Okay, cool. So one thing I will note, there are certainly different ways to play scales. Some people use like 3-note per string patterns. I do use those sometimes. And they actually work really great for triplets because, you know, you've got 3 notes on a string. But I don't use those patterns as much as I use like pentatonic scales and more of the kind of cage patterns. So I practice it more in those patterns. And what happens as a result is you're going to get some strings that have 3 notes on it and some strings that have 2 notes on it. So I want to be able to negotiate those different patterns, the 3 notes on a string, 2 notes on a string. I want to be able to negotiate those and also keep the feel going. So that's why I would encourage you to do it also with like pentatonic scales and stuff like that. Okay, so now I have a little exercise that I like to do here, a couple of exercises, and that is starting to mix and match these, right? So we've got the first 2 beats of this particular exercise here is our quarter note triplets, and then we have 2 beats of 8th note triplets. So what I would do here again is just start with 1 note, and then you can start to apply it to a scale. All right, let's try it with a scale. Okay, and maybe with a pentatonic scale also, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so, and again, if you loop it, it kind of actually forces you to do some things that might be a little uncomfortable. All right, exercise 2 is, you know, basically just flipping this around. I'm going to start with the 8th note triplets and then go into our quarter note triplets. So let's do it with 1 note first. All right, let's try it with our scale. 1, 2. Maybe with a pentatonic scale, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, great exercise. And now we're starting to get to where we can hopefully combine these rhythms, right? We want to just stuck in one thing. And now we're, slowly starting to get into some more diverse rhythmic phrasing. Okay, exercise number 3, we have one beat of kind of that shuffle type feel. 1, da, right? 1, a triplet, da, 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 da. So there's our first 2 beats, and then we have a quarter note triplet on the last 2 beats. Let's play it with one note first. 3, 4. Okay, let's try it with the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's try with our pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, of course, you can do much more of this. I'm just giving you some examples. You should do this until you can really internalize these and get really good at mixing and match these together. All right, the next one here, we're playing a full triplet feel on the first beat, a shuffle kind of feel on the second beat, and then the quarter note triplets on beats 3 and 4. Let's do it with one note. 2, 3, 4. Let's try it with our scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's try it with our pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. So this is a much more effective way of practicing your scales. Once you get your scale patterns down, maybe you're going to start real simple, eighth notes or something like that, but then you want to start really diversifying how you're playing those scales, and that way you get more rhythmic diversity, and hopefully this will, over time be internalized into your body, into your soul, into your brain, however you want to describe it. And then it will come out in your improvisation and make your improvisation much more interesting. All right, let's look at exercise 5 here. So this is a little exercise I like to do with my students, and what it does is it starts to get away from the downbeat a little bit. Okay, so what I do is I take a pattern on the guitar. I'm just going to start here on F sharp, which is the 4th fret of the D string. I'm going to play a half step and a whole step. So 3 notes on that string, and then the exact same shape on the next one. So obviously that's going to work out to a triplet really nicely. So you can... So you might want to start there, but eventually we're going to get rid of that first note. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to internalize starting a line on that second note of the triplet. So something like this. Here's our triplet. Okay, so that's a great exercise because we don't want to start all of our lines on the downbeat. So you want to, especially if you're going for like a triplet type feel, you want to be able to start maybe on the second note of the triplet. Or in this case, if we kind of apply this to the next exercise, we're going to start it on the 3rd note of the triplet. Now in this way, I kind of feel this as a pickup into the downbeat. That's the way I like to kind of internalize it. So again, you can start with the actual triplet, the full thing. And then you can morph it into that pickup. So it would sound like this. But a good place to do is just start with the full 2 triplets and then break into that more syncopated feel. 3, 4. Again, that little exercise will help us feel a kind of a pickup note, the last note of the first triplet there going into the second beat, okay? And like I said, I kind of like to feel that as almost like a pickup. Okay, the next exercise, exercise 7, what we have is a shuffle type thing on our first beat here, shuffle type triplet feel, and then a full triplet, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going to put 2 notes on the D string. So I'm going to play. Now there is a downbeat there, but we do get, you know, kind of a little bit of a syncopation out of that shuffle type feel. So I'm going to start on the 5th fret of the D string, go up to the 7th. That's the 2 notes I'm going to use on that string, and then 3 notes on this string. And again, I'm just using this just to be able to get my body to internalize these triplets, okay? So. Okay. Now what I can do too is I can also play the first note shorter. You notice there is a rest there, right? 2, 3, 4. And there I'm actually alternating them. So all these are really good little exercises. These are things that have helped me along the way. And of course, we can switch those around just to get it, you know, diversified a little bit. So in this case, I'm going to play 3 notes on the D string, and then 2 notes on the G string, which is going to represent beat 2, which is that shuffle type feel. So triplet da 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 da. All right, let's try it. And of course, we can also shorten up that note that's on the second beat there because there is a rest after it, and we can do it both ways. Let's try it a few times. Here we go. Okay, so just, you know, put slight variations on it, but the whole goal of this, like I said, is to get to where we can internalize these and just do them automatically without even thinking about it, right? So you got to loop these a bit, and you got to incorporate these into your practice strategy. All right, example number 9. Now, this is where things start to get a little bit more interesting. We're actually going to add 8th notes into the equation. So we've got 2 beats of 8th notes, which are just simply 1 and 2 and that's a straight feel. And then we have 2 beats of triplets. So again, you might want to start with just 1 note, like this A note here on the 7th fret, right? So this would be 1 and 2 and triplet, triplet. Let's hear it with the click. Okay, let's try it with that Dorian mode. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try with the pentatonic if you want. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, really great. And that might be a little bit trickier because you're actually kind of mixing and matching what we would consider to be kind of a straight feel with a triplet feel. All right, next exercise, more of the same. We're just switching things around. We're going to do beat 1 with an 8th note, beat 2 with triplets, 3 with an 8th note, and beat 4 with triplets. Let's start it with one note first, and then we can apply it to our scales. 3, 4. Okay, so what you'll notice there is that it actually took me, a couple of passes to really lock it in. That's okay. Just keep doing it until you lock it in. Again, these are just exercises, but let's go ahead and apply this to that Dorian mode and then to a pentatonic scale. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's try it with a pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now, and you see when you loop it like that, what happens is you avoid any like repetitive patterns. It really forces you to feel the rhythm, right? You can't just fall back on like I'm starting on this note, I'm starting on that note, because if you loop it, eventually the starting point is going to switch, and it's going to really have to force you into internalizing the rhythm that you're playing and focusing on that. All right, so exercise number 11. What we're doing now is we're starting to add some other stuff in here. We got a quarter note on beat 1, 2 8th notes, then a triplet, and then a shuffle. Okay, let's start it slow, right? So we got 1, 2, and triple it, da, 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 2 and triple it. Okay, that's a good thing to do at first if this tempo is a little fast, but let's do it with our click. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm not going to do the scale on this one. I'm just going to finish this off. This might be getting a little long-winded here, and I don't want to keep you guys here too long, so let's just do this last one. I'll let you apply these last two to the scale and to the pentatonic like we were doing before. And of course, you should be applying different scale patterns and using this stuff all over the guitar. The next one would be 2 8th notes, 1 and 2 and triple it, and then a 16th note rhythm baked in there. Okay, so we got slowly be 1 and 2 and triple it. Okay, let's do it with the click. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing there. It took me, a couple passes to really lock it in. And what I was finding was if I just do strict alternate picking with it, it ends up having to play that beginning of beat 4/16th note with an upstroke, which is not super natural, right? We tend to want to go downstrokes on the downbeat of 16th notes, 1E and 2E and right, to be able to go 1E and 2E and so it flips your picking around. So that's why you should really push through that, because you want to be able to internalize these rhythms. Okay, those are some exercises using eighth notes and quarter note rhythms, and then also mixing and matching them with some eighth note, straight eighth notes and some 16th notes even. And you saw how I kind of went about doing that. And this is what I've done over the years to really help me try to internalize these. So when I'm in the heat of the battle, so to speak, if I'm improvising or something, I have access to these. Of course, you want to do these at different tempos and everything with different scale patterns, and anything that you're working on, arpeggios, all this can be baked into those exercises. So, all right, once again, if you want the PDF to this lesson, please check out my Patreon site. There's all kinds of good stuff going on there. I've got over 200 videos on there. And, make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so when I put out some new stuff, you'll be alerted. And until next time, I'll see you around.